To have passion in life is everything.
What's your Everest?
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
that 200-inch buck?
They just look so impressive when they're wide.
Especially running away.
Welcome to this week's episode of Eastmans Elevated.
It's like a think tank for outdoor activity.
Sounds exactly like my hunting. Just always thinking about it, always trying to evolve it and make it better.
Here's your host, Brian Barney.
Hey, what's happening, guys? Got a brand new Eastmans Elevated for you. So on today's podcast, I have on Charles Whitwam from HOWL for Wildlife. HOWL is doing amazing work sticking us up for us sportsmen. They're taking the fight to these battleground states as we all feel like our hunting rights are being encroached upon and being attacked. And HOWL, Charles has set up this program to make our voices heard, to get our letters and our emails and our phone calls to the right people and the right committees that are making these decisions. And he's taking the fight to these battleground states where they're trying to whittle away our hunting rights. It's such an important cause, and this is one of my resolutions for the new year, is to keep myself more informed and more engaged in these fights for different seasons and hunting rights and regulations. And also part of that is to keep you guys more informed. So this is a real important podcast to me. I really enjoyed it with Charles, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. I want to thank Black Rifle Coffee Company. Black Rifle Coffee Company make some amazing coffee. I am part of their subscription list, so I get a bag of coffee every single month, and they're all good. I love their roasts. I love their instant. I use their instant. It's actually freeze-dried real coffee in there, and it's one of the only instant coffees I've ever had that doesn't bother my stomach or make me feel different than like a standard cup of coffee. This stuff does the trick. It keeps me alive in the mountains. I supply it for my buddies when we go on the hunts. Also, their instant tea bags makes great coffee. Just super coffee for in the mountains. And then, like I say, I like their subscriptions. I'm part of it. Their coffee roast just tastes better than most roasts. And it's a great company that I like to put my dollars behind. They're veteran-owned, veteran-operated. They do a lot for our military, and just a great company overall. So you can save some money if you go to Black Rifle Coffee Company // Eastmans, and then punch in the promo code Brian in there, and that'll save you some off that coffee subscription or that instant coffee or anything that you need. So thanks to those guys. I also want to thank Cutter Stabilizers. I just talked to Earl Stroll, the owner, the other day. Earl is a small company, but he's done his due diligence on these stabilizers. He spent years developing these and evolving the connection points and the strength of them. They're carbon fiber bar, so it really puts the weight out front or in the back. You guys know that I like to use larger bars. The bow just aims better that way. It also affects the reaction of the bow. I'm using a 15 out front. I'm using a 12 in back. And Cutter has just released their new sidebar mounting system. So Earl's also been working on this has to be like over a year now in testing and development to make sure it's going to hold up to the abuse that us bow hunters can put on it. So it's a great side bracket. Make sure to check it out. They have weights, they have bars, all different sizes. Just great products and a great company that I like putting my dollars behind. So thanks to Cutter for their support. Make sure to go check them out. Over at Eastmans, we're keeping busy over there. Got some good new Beyond the Grid, or internet TV show that'll be dropping on YouTube here shortly. You can also check us out on Eastman's Hunting TV on the Outdoor Channel. Check out Tag Hub. It's our internet research tool. They also have a premium membership on there that'll get you Tag Hub. It'll get you both magazines. It gets you access to our entire video library. There's a bunch of benefits in there, as well as giving away 3 hunts this season and a bunch of gear from some of our sponsors. And also we'll get you some gear savings from some of our sponsors. So you can save a little money on that if you punch in the promo code Brian at the end of that. And again, that's a Tag Hub and also Eastman's Elite membership. And with that, man, Man, just keeping busy around here. It's been great setting up this bow, getting ready for bow season, planning all my adventures. Just super stoked. I got to sit down and record a solo podcast for you guys here shortly. So I might do it on like my bow setup and bow tuning and kind of go through some of my gear for you guys. So I've got some good ideas for podcasts. So sitting on a bunch of good recordings right now, and just keep them rolling for you guys coming into season here. So hopefully we can learn from the podcast and be better hunters. So excited to bring those to you guys. But let's get into this podcast. It's really important stuff. Great recording with Charles Whitwam. He's from HOWL for Wildlife. I'm your host, Brian Barney. Eastman's Elevated. Here we go. Well, thanks so much for joining me on the podcast, Charles.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking the time and having me on to talk about HOWL. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, so HOWL's like a newer, or at least it's newer to me. I'm just finding out about it, but it really seems like you're fighting for sportsmen's rights for I've seen a lot for predator hunting, for bear hunting, but yeah, just give me a brief overview of HOWL and how you're involved in it.
Yep. So my name's Charles Whitwam. I'm the president and founder of HOWL for Wildlife, and we launched January 11th of this past year. I've been working on it a little over a year, trying to develop a platform, a website, and software that essentially makes it really, really easy for anybody, but obviously we're going after sportsmen, to get involved in the legislative issues that have to do with anti-hunting bills or with pro-hunting bills as well. And so that's what I've been working on. That's what I launched, and it kind of surprises me every day how effective it is, and how we just started and nobody knew who we were, and how successful it's been so far. It's really kind of mind blowing how far it's come so far.
That's amazing, Charles. Yeah, it is. It's so tough to keep informed in today's day and age, and even for me, it's one of my goals to keep better informed, to help inform my audience, to help put things out on my social media, to help build support around a lot of these laws. And I'm just finding out that that a lot of these laws, they're not passed on biology, or they're not passed on to help the common public land hunter out. Like, a lot of them, they have ulterior motives, and so it's good to be able to get informed for us, and also to inform other people of what's going on, so we can stand up for some of these things.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not, each state's a little different. Some states are run their process for, at least for wildlife bills, are run a little differently than others. Some states have a right to hunt. Some states have a commission that is very pro hunting. And what I mean by that is, there might be some criteria that they need to meet before they can be on a commission. It's not just governor appointed, and you can be, a vineyard owner and a friend or something, and next thing you know, you're on the Wildlife Commission. So each state is very different. And so it's of course, I don't think there's any lack of, if you want to find out what's going on in the country, state by state, I wouldn't say there's a lack of knowing what's going on. The lack that I've seen, and the reason why we created HOWL for Wildlife, was, how do we get sportsmen and women involved in this process? There's been a giant gap there, that you might see something, oh, this is going on in this state, or this is going on in my state. Now, what is it that I'm supposed to do? How do I get involved at the most basic level? And that, for some reason, has been really, really difficult. Now, you might have been told, send an email to your legislator, or you might have been given, a list of emails that maybe you're going to copy and paste, and then write your own email and take the time to draft up, an email that makes some sort of sense. But I know most people do not do that because it takes time, and a lot of people, they don't know exactly what to write. They know that, yeah, I'm a hunter and I support this, or I'm against this or whatnot, but how do I write a letter that I feel is effective, or an email or whatnot that I feel is effective, that goes to not only my legislator, but more importantly, and this is also where we come in, that goes to the decision makers that are surrounding the bill that you want to get involved in. And I'll explain that. It's if you just have an action center and it's contact your legislator, if that legislator has nothing to do with that bill, or if you aren't in that state, or you aren't in that district or whatnot, and you're just sending a letter to your legislator, that's not necessarily getting to the decision makers that are actually going to be making a decision on this bill. Because there's tons of different committees, there's subcommittees, there's commissioners, there's you name it. It's a little more complicated than just writing your congressman or your legislator, or having it be zip code based. That's where we've come in and made it to where when you come in and you take action on any of the actions that we have, when you click that button, you are sending, from anywhere from one email to, so far we've had one where you click the button, it sends 165 emails at once. And it goes to the people who are directly involved with this bill, whether they are a sponsor or whether they are a decision maker. More importantly, the decision makers, because those are the people who will ultimately decide if this bill should go to the next committee, if it should pass fully. It depends on where that bill is at that point in time. But that's where we have it set up. So you can be in Florida and see a bill in Washington State, and we've made it so that sportsman in Florida can get involved and voice their concerns to something that's going on in Washington State, and vice versa as well. And that's what we are trying to do. We're trying to get all sportsmen, all people who care about healthy wildlife populations and believe in sound management practices, believe that hunting is a huge role in wildlife management. We want all of those people who feel that way to get involved and get everybody's back, no matter what kind of hunting it is. So if it's predator hunting, if it's ungulate hunting, if it's turkey hunting, if it's trapping, if it's hound hunting, we want the full support of the entire hunting community to support those who are at the time are in need of support, because we believe, after seeing a number of years now, the attack on hunting and who it's coming from and how they do it and what they start with and the states that they start with and the states they've been successful in, we see it that if you don't get involved now, you will see it in your state somewhere down the line, if it's not already there right now. So it's a broader picture. It's kind of just stepping back instead of zeroing in on a small area. It's stepping back and looking at what's really going on and what can we do right now to be the most powerful force that we can be. And the way that legislation often works is, whoever is the loudest, the squeakiest wheel, right? And that's what we're trying to be. And in the past, none of what I just said is new. It's only new to the hunting community. The hunting community has not been given the proper tools or resources to get involved at this level. It surprises me. It really does, especially the more that I get into this. But this is not new this is not new to the anti-hunting organizations. And I know this 100% for a fact. I mean, there's officials in Georgia, for instance, who just said, they just told me, they're like, man, we've been waiting for this, because we get this all the time. We get the pressure all the time whenever there's something that comes up and the anti-hunting organizations don't like it, they knock our doors down. And now we are finally seeing this from the hunting community, and we're happy we're seeing it, because it's evening it out. It's evening the pressure out, and there's no excuse anymore for there shouldn't be any excuse anymore for somebody to say, we haven't heard from the hunting community on this, besides a handful of people. We're bringing in thousands and thousands of people. Yesterday, Virginia, for instance, there was a bill that was passed in Virginia to allow hunting on Sundays, which is something that they've been fighting for decades and decades and decades. Through our platform alone, because it's kind of a force multiplier. So like I said, when you go in and you push that button and you send an email, I can't remember how many emails. I think we were sending 100 emails at once for each person. So because of that, 115,000 emails went through our platform just on that bill in Virginia, which is huge. And furthermore, those emails are not all the same. You're not putting your name on a form letter. You're not sending out the exact same email as the next person. We have the capability of setting up as many different email templates as possible. So, and the same thing with email subject lines. So when somebody comes there, and if they choose to not edit that email, because you can edit it, you can add your own voice to it, you can add to it, you can erase the whole thing and write your own, but we're still doing you the service where it's getting to the right people, right? But another thing that we've added is when these legislators, when these decision makers see this, it's not just all the same email, so they can't just instantly filter it all and say, well, this is this is that. It's coming from some organization or something like that. This is basically a portal where you, regular Joe Smith hunter, can now open up a conversation with decision makers between you and them on these bills. HOWL for Wildlife is nowhere mentioned in any of this. We just provide the portal to get that conversation going. And what's really cool is these decision makers are responding back specifically to, in relation to the email that you sent. They're responding back to you with, hey, thanks for this email about this specific bill. Here's how I feel about this on this bill. And I thank you for your time. If there's any other question, they're trying to actually have a conversation with you. It's not always a canned conversation from them either. And then it gives you the opportunity to kind of build that relationship and also say thank you to them. And so then when another hunting bill comes down the line, they know how hunters feel. And hopefully, we're asking them do all of this politely and respectively, and be respectful in your emails and your correspondence and all that. But that can go a long ways, a long ways. So we just opened it up so you can have the availability to speak with not only your constituency but anyone around the country who is willing to listen to ideas surrounding the North American model of wildlife conservation, bringing conversations like that up to these legislators. It's gone a long ways.
Gosh, I can only imagine, Charles. That's absolutely amazing. Like, what a important niche that you filled in the hunting community, and how might possibly be doing more for wildlife and more for hunters than the majority of programs out there. Just the way it's set up, though, the way you describe it, where it isn't all the same email, or it isn't all the same subject line on it, that it is a personalized email that goes to the right people and the right committees that are making those decisions. Because, I mean, it has been so hard, and it's not that us sportsmen don't care about rules being passed or don't care about other states or hunting rights being taken away. But you're right. The way it's these non-hunting identities, they're strategic in the states they attack, in the species that they attack, and the way they go about this attack to keep progressing their agenda. And so for us hunters, it's not that we don't care. It's like everybody has a full-time job and has a family and trying to enjoy the outdoors, and sure, if something comes down our pipeline in our own state, we try to get involved and make our voice heard. But it's tough to keep informed on all of it in all these different states, all the rules and regulations that come up, that I do feel a bit overwhelmed, like trying to keep up with Washington or California or some of those states that tend to pass rules and regulations first and set a precedent before they move on to other states before I have the fight right on my front doorstep. And so I just think that's amazing what you've put together in such a short amount of time, and realizing, how to reach those committees and those members and send those right emails to make our voice heard. And it's the same thing with these politicians. It's not that they want to do wrong by us, but they're listening to the masses. They have this responsibility to listen to the population. And if hunters are never heard and it's only the antis that know how to play the game, then we're going to get a lot of laws and rules passed against us. So it's just what an amazing resource. How did you come up with the idea for it, or how did you create it, or find the developers for it, or what gave you the inspiration, the idea to start HOWL?
Yeah, so about 14 months ago, January of 2021, so a little over a year ago, there was a bill in California to outright ban bear hunting. It was introduced by a senator from San Francisco. And immediately after that was first read, it just ticked me off, and I started basically a grassroots movement to get everybody involved that I could. I didn't know where it was going to go. It wasn't HOWL for Wildlife. It was completely unorganized. It was just on social media. So I set up a petition. And I set it up to go to the decision makers, because I had been involved in a bill before, and I realized, I was like, oh, there's decision makers are way different than contact your legislator. And it was like a Senate Ag committee or something on this bill before. So I figured out what decision maker was, what group was involved with this. And so I had this petition set up to go to them, and it, for whatever reason, just caught like wildfire. And in 5 days, it went from, me posting on social media to Meat Eater getting a hold of it and them posting about it. And we got 27,000 signatures in 5 days and thousands of calls. Also, we set up call campaigns to these decision makers. And I think a number of things were wrong. The bill was very, very poorly written. I think they thought it was one of those bills where, let's just write it up, we'll get it passed. And there was such a resistance to it. They pulled the bill in 5 days. I think it was day 6 or something that they pulled it. So there wasn't time for any of the hunting orgs or any of the bigger national groups to get involved. It was hunters across the U.S. getting involved and making their voice heard. So for me, I was like, okay, well, this must not exist yet, right? Where hunters can really have their voice be heard and have them directly contact the people who are making the decisions here. And, the lobbyists here in California, the pro-hunting lobbyists here in California, he said, I've been doing this for, I think he said 30 years. He said, I've never seen anything like this before. I've never seen hunters get so involved and have a similar voice. So I just started looking into it, and I'm like, well, it's because it doesn't exist. Like the tool, it's actually just not there, which is mind-boggling to me that it's not there. So that's when I started doing research on websites, on software, on some of the things that I needed to accomplish to get around some of the typical roadblocks where I could have anybody in any state be involved. And that was definitely a process. It cost a lot of money. I paid for everything myself to develop this. And I even, a lot of the companies that could offer or build what it was that I wanted to build, they said, well, we aren't, they were quote unquote progressive minded companies. And as soon as they heard that I had anything to do with hunting, I didn't align with their ethics anymore. And all the time I'd spent with them building it or even investing money, that went away. So I just didn't stop, and finally found something that would work because there really wasn't anything out there that would work. I had to sort of Frankenstein some integrations where this would all work, because I also wanted to incentivize people who got involved. I wanted to incentivize hunters, and I wanted to show that the hunting community and brands and whatnot would be willing to support a platform that is essentially free. I've made it free for everybody to do this. You can join, and joining just means you have a login, which the reason why you have a login is because when you take action, or if you share a post, or if you share like an action or whatnot, or if somebody, clicks your link that you shared and they sign up, I made it so you get a point value for all of that. And then when you reach a certain threshold, so I've gamified the website. So basically when you reach a certain threshold, you automatically get entered into contests to win, industry level rewards from partners. And then of course, we have the discount codes and things like that. So every time you take an action, that basically gives you access to a login page where, you can get, discounts on, well, Eastmans, for instance, they have a 20% discount code set up where, if you take action, you get access to, 20% off of the hub, the tag hub that they have. So that's one of the partners there, for instance. So I wanted to just set it up and not be sponsored really by anybody. I wanted to just show, hey, we all need to come together. It is time to do this. And I don't care who it is. I don't care who the credit needs to go to or what. It really doesn't matter. We just have a mission in mind. There's millions and millions and millions of hunters. There's way more millions of anglers, and there's people who consider themselves sportsmen. So if you look in the shooting sports, there's 60 to 80 million of us. And I just feel like that's not being utilized at all. And also the multi-billion-dollar industry that represents the sportsman's industry is, I think a lot of it is money well spent, but I think a lot of it is money that should be spent on, say, mainstream marketing of what conservation really is. So what does that mean? You see commercials and billboards and whatnot that PETA puts up, or the Humane Society of the United States, or whoever, and you don't have to agree with that. But you still see it. You see it in the mainstream media. And with the past 100 and plus years of proof that conservation has, through license sales, through the Pittman-Robertson Act, through all the money that goes to conservation that comes from the hunting and angling community, why aren't we marketing that to the mainstream media? Through the mainstream outlets is what I mean, to the non-hunting public, to the neutral public. Why aren't we trying to get them on our side? I feel like we spend a lot of money marketing to ourselves, to the choir, like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is great. And of course, and everybody agrees with it. But why aren't we trying to pull in a few percentage points from the non-hunting neutral crowd? They enjoy wild. Nobody's saying they have to become a hunter. I'm not saying come be a hunter, but I'm saying here is why you are seeing healthy herds of ungulate populations and predator populations, because of management. And here's all this money that goes to that comes from this. So inspire that conversation and engage those people to either disagree or be curious about it and say, really? Let me go look that up. And then they look it up and they're like, all right, well, I haven't been told this before. I didn't know this. So then now when an issue comes up, we can also hopefully rely on them to get involved. Like, I really think this is the way. If we want to make the anti-hunting organizations and the pressure that they put on legislators, congressmen, representatives, and whatnot, I want to make them irrelevant. And to make them irrelevant is through education. And we have the data and the proof and the science, I think, to do that. I really do. But it's just, I don't know why I'm the one talking about this. It's kind of it's a little crazy to me, but I am, and this is the position I'm in. But I really think this is the the direction that we need to be headed. And there's no shortage of money. There really isn't. I just think we need to spend it differently in different places.
Yeah. Gosh, I think you're a great voice for it. Like the way you explain it and articulate it, so we can all understand it. Because you're right. That's where the power is. That's how we make our voice heard. But we've been so disorganized for so long that these animal rights have been able to take advantage of that, to know how to get things done legislatively, and to know how to reach them and who to reach. And I love what you're saying also about being in our own echo chamber, talking to ourselves, promoting ourselves to each other. Where you're right. Like we need to educate the other population out there, the people that do enjoy camping, the people that do enjoy fishing, and you look at all the boat ramps that we put in and fishing accesses that we put in. But a lot of these people, they don't know when something's coming up for a vote or when some big change is coming down the line. So I definitely, you guys have helped make me aware of, a few initiatives that I've seen just through your social media, but I definitely have to join your guys' website. So, I get updates through email, through HOWL. You guys are just doing amazing work, Charles. Like, how is this all funded, or how are you making this all work? Like you said, you started it on your own time. Do you guys take donations then, or is this part of you're able to make money through the website, through the views that you get, through partnering with some of these companies, or how is HOWL going to be funded?
A fantastic question. Well, I'll answer up to date. So I paid for everything out of my own pocket. And then when we launched, it's all donation only. So there's no monetization of anything thus far. I don't really want to go that route. I want to keep this creative and set up a totally different model if we can. So it's all just been on, hey, if you believe in what we're doing, if you believe in the value of what we are, you can see directly what it is we offer. It's the website. It's the portal. That's the value. So if you believe in that, please support us. That's definitely the message there. We do have now. It's just me and John Stallone. And he's in Arizona. He's my partner who's helping me with a lot of this. And then we just hired on kind of a sales guy who's going to be helping us with partnerships and whatnot. And so we're very small. All these bills and all these actions, it's just me like working 20 hours a day, basically trying to update the website and figure out mapping of how this should work and all the different members and whatnot. Because we have 18,000 people that have signed up now. Which is huge. So now what do I do with those 18,000 people? How do I keep them engaged? How do we, all that, so many things that I don't even know about. Like I've gotten myself into a whole thing here where it's like, okay, like I have a mission. I know what I want to accomplish, but I am not a pro in this, and this, but I got myself into it. Right. So I can only imagine once we have the right team, what we will be able to accomplish. And, as far as just being as efficient and clear as we can be on our side, on the back end side here. But the team really is, how many people can we get to get involved? How many people can we get to reach legislators? And so far I didn't look it up today, but yesterday we've had 415,000 individual actions run through our platform since January 11th of this year. So less than 2 months. And it's been, those are just the emails. So 415,000 emails that have been sent to decision makers throughout all the issues we've had in states, which is giant. Now, imagine what will happen if we become a large organization and everybody actually knows about us. Like, imagine if we get 1% My goal is 1% of whoever considers themselves a sportsman or sportswoman. Because we're just in the 0.0000, and what we've done so far is huge. And we've heard about it. We've heard about it from legislators. We haven't, this is, maybe this is a stretch, but I'm just saying, we have not lost a bill yet. And in every single bill that we've been involved in, it has been clear from either the delegates or the senators. They've said, what's going on? Like, where'd all these hunters come from? We've never heard from them before. We've heard from the orgs. We've heard from them saying, our membership, which consists of this many thousands of people, this is what we believe in, but we've never individually heard from those people. So what happens when we get to, if we can reach 1 million people and have 1 million people actually taking action? That's huge. And that's what I really want to, that's my goal. That's what I really want to get to. I want to get to 1 million people that can regularly speak up on hunting and angling issues. Because then I think we can seriously, will be a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely, Charles. You have the vision. Like, you see what it can be and what you can create, and you see how it affects these states in this legislation. Like, and you're willing to put in the work, your own money and 20 hours a day to make this thing happen. Like, you have the vision. It's just continuing to grow it. But, what an important cause. Like, where us hunters, you included this previous year, really feel like we're attacked from all sides. Like, I hardly feel like I can keep up, and I feel like there's more and more rule changes that don't benefit us sportsmen, that don't benefit the state's ungulates and predator populations, that don't really help these states be at their best. And so, like, what an important organization, and all your services are offered for free, and also, like, having an organization that I know's looking out for me, that I know I can trust and know that my dollars are going to go to work to help keep what I cherish and love for me and for future generations. Like, it's just amazing. Like, a lot of times you don't know where your money goes, or even what organizations to be part of or to join. There's so many different ones out there. But I think what HOWL is doing is above and clear, above these other organizations, just because you're involved in the legislation and the power you have through these programs that you've written, with this email chain going to the right people. It's really gonna change things and change the game. I think this is just amazing, Charles. I am 100% on board, and just thankful there's somebody like you that thought of this and came up with this, so sportsmen can be heard, and it really gives me a lot of hope for the future, which is great. Maybe talk about, like, I'd love to hear about some of your successes, as I've seen a lot of them. You said that they're, anything you've got involved in, hasn't passed against us, but talk about some of these major successes you've seen across the West already, in just this short time that you've been, the HOWL Organization for Wildlife.
Yeah, so we have success and we have progressed. So we actually have an archive section on our website now. So the Colorado bill, SB 22031, that was to ban mountain lion hunting and bobcat hunting, and it also said Canadian lynx, but that was already federally protected. That was a success, and that was a huge success that many organizations got involved in, and we were also involved in with the email and a call campaign, because we also have we have a call campaign set up as well, where you're not just making a blind call. It's sort of a tutorial system where if you want to make a call to the decision maker and actually speak with them, our system will call your phone and lead you through some prompts, and on your screen there'll be talking points. So it'll say, we're going to connect you to this decision maker next, and here's talking points. Here's how it works. When you're ready, We're going to connect you to this person. And then it goes to the next person. You can go all the way down the line if you want to. So we had that set up for Colorado as well. That bill was killed in a committee meeting, and I was there for that one personally as well. And that was awesome because so many hunters showed up, and literally showed up to the Capitol building. There was a few hundred hunters there, I believe, which was incredible. New Hampshire had a Beagle Club bill, which essentially would have banned Beagle clubs. And so think about how small that is. Like, who do you know that's in a Beagle club? It didn't matter. There was thousands of hunters that got involved with that, and they probably none of them ever had a Beagle. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But that bill was killed, and I wish I had this email from a legislator who wanted this bill to pass, and he emailed and he said, this bill was going to pass. I thought it was going to pass, but the amount of pressure that has been put on our small New Hampshire legislator or committee house, I can't remember exactly what the words. He's like, we just don't want to deal with it, and this bill has been suggested for us to be killed because he said if your intention was to kill this bill, Machiavelli would be proud. It's the craziest email because it's coming from somebody who wanted the bill to pass. And so he was responding directly to the amount of pressure. Virginia had a trapping bill that was killed. And I want to make it clear. I don't want to say like we got it killed. There's a lot of people involved with this. There's a lot of organizations involved. There's boots on the ground people who are doing. We are just providing where hunters can make their voices heard and reach the decision makers. So that's an important part of this puzzle. I don't want to act like for a second it's all of us. It's just HOWL that's winning this. It's not. It's a team effort. And that's the way I want to make that clear that it is. Virginia legalizing hunting on Sundays. That just passed yesterday. They've been fighting that for decades and decades and decades and decades.
Which is horrible for like sportsmen, like the working class that only have a weekend or 2 days to hunt, and they legally cannot go and hunt on their day off on Sunday. It doesn't make any sense in today's day and age. So yeah, good for you guys fighting for that.
Literally doubled the opportunity that the hunting opportunity for people like that. People who work Monday through Friday, they just had their hunting opportunity doubled, right? Because they could work on Saturday, or they could hunt on Saturday if they couldn't on Sunday. Now they can. So doubled their opportunity rate.
Yeah,
it's huge.
It's huge.
There's other states that we have that we're working on that as well. South Carolina currently, Maine might be coming up. Where I guess they're considering it. There isn't a bill yet for it. Pennsylvania is a big one that we just got involved in, and I think Massachusetts is another state that where it might be coming up. But then there was in Mississippi there was a 6,000 acres of Black Prairie Wildlife Management Area that was brought up to be sold to private land, and this is an area where I had first heard about this because Robbie Kroger at Blood Origins, he contacted me and he said, hey, is there something you can do about this? This is in my backyard. And it was right when it first came out. And I said, sure. I mean, send me some content on it. Like that's the hard part for me is we don't have a team of people in every state. So trying to stay up with all these things that's going on in each state, and I'm in California. I'm like, yeah, if you can please just send me some content. And he did. So we wrote up an action for that issue, and that little town. I feel bad for the lady that was answering all the emails, and plus when they had their meeting on it, kind of their town hall meeting on it, tons of hunters showed up, which normally does not happen. And I was watching it live on the live feed, and you could just see, you could hear it in what some of the legislators were saying. They're like, man, where'd all these people come from? We didn't know this was such a big issue. And it is a big issue. because it, like you said earlier, and this wasn't like an anti-hunting, attack or whatnot. It was, that's not the people or the orgs who brought up this idea to sell it to private. But it does set a precedent, and it also shows, I think, what's the reason why we've been so successful is that hunters are now getting involved emotionally in this process because they're seeing, holy cow, like my voice is actually getting somewhere. And now they're responding to me, and now we're winning. So maybe there is light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe there is hope here. So let's get them involved in this little issue that's going on in Mississippi. and it worked. I love it every single day when something like this happens and I see these successes. I'm just as excited as I guide and outfit sometimes when I have time in California, and I usually get more excited than the hunter because I just love it. And this is kind of the same thing. I'm like, this is amazing. This is so incredible to see this happening. And because again, and you said it earlier, it's all about organization. The numbers are there. More than enough numbers are there. I'm just looking for single digit percentages, and I know we'd be 100% successful. But the numbers are there, the money's there, the passion is there. We just haven't been able to set up a way for people to actually get involved. So then we've had some progress. So California and Washington are obviously two giant battleground states, and hunters have, I say hunters, I'm assuming most of them are hunters. Hunters have shown up in droves in California. There's another official petition submitted to the wildlife committee here to, it's essentially the ban bear hunting. They made it, it's a little smarter than that, the way that they wrote it up, but that's essentially what they're going after. And one of the services, I guess, that we provide, or I don't know, avenues or whatever to get people involved in, is when there's committee meetings, you can show up to them. You can have either in person or by, Zoom if they can't have them in person yet. But there's a time for public comment. There's a time for expert testimony. So we have, and this is through one of my volunteers is all I can say, because that's just what he is, but his name's Mike Costello. He has really coordinated so much of this for me in California, where he is setting up the Zoom meetings through our platform, and we've had literally in the last California committee meeting, the Fish and Wildlife Committee meeting, we had hundreds of hunters at the meeting, and 63 of them spoke at the committee, to the committee. And this was based on the work that he put in, the meetings that we had. So then we now had hunters that were going in and intelligently speaking on these issues and knew how this process worked. And we all weren't saying the same thing. And now it's like, wow, that wasn't that hard, was it? Now you can get involved at this level if you want to. And it doesn't really take that much time. It's just, it's kind of intimidating. It's intimidating for me. I'm not a pro at this. When it's my turn to speak, my hands are sweaty, and I'm like, I'm speaking to this board or whatever. That's not my thing. But once I'm done with it, I'm like, man, that wasn't that bad. And now the next time when this happens, it's that much easier. And now all these other hunters, they feel the same way. The guys who were there speaking. And so now it's really gone. It's gone in our favor in Washington and California. And what I mean by that is that they've pushed it down the line to get it closer to, hopefully, the response back is what's the science-based solution here? Because that's what we're going for the most part. That's what we're going for on these issues. And that's what we're pushing for. And the other side can't really, they'll use science, but it's social science. And if we have enough, wildlife biologists and experts and whatnot involved on our side, there's some really, really captivating, intriguing, smart, intelligent conversation going on. And the committee members just can't deny that. And they're like, yeah, this does make sense. Wiping away predator management as a whole, how is this going to affect the ungulate populations? It's going to have a detrimental effect on the ungulate populations. So our message is actually the role of hunting is what saves wildlife. The anti-hunting message, whether they know it or not, because I don't think that they do. I do think most of them have what they think is good intentions. However, if their ideas were carried out, that actually hurts wildlife. It hurts predators because you have too many of them and there's only so much habitat, and it hurts ungulates because there's too many predators. And there's only, I mean, you understand what I'm saying. And that goes all on down the line to turkey and you name it. So we have a fantastic message. It's just how do we shape this and craft it and get as many people as hunters understanding this message as well. And that's the same thing for me. I've been hunting all my life, but I haven't really thought about what the message is. I haven't thought about my role as in management when it comes to hunting. But now I am, because I'm involved in this, and I just, I saw the void and I was like, well, I think I can do something about it. So let's get involved and let's all learn together and hopefully win.
Yeah, you're doing it, Charles. It's so many of those points that you speak on make sense to me. It is, we do want to be involved. The sportsmen do want to be involved. We just, we're all so busy with our own lives and work and trying to get some recreating. So, we don't have the time to sit down and to write our congressman or to do all the research necessary to make our voices heard. And so, through your organization, you've just made it easy for us. And now, we have so many great role models and so many good spokesmen that really help educate us on conservation and the conservation model. And we've seen it play out, just like what you're talking about in Yellowstone, when you put wolves on the endangered species list and then you don't let biologists manage the predator populations like grizzly bears, like wolves, you leave that in the hands of politicians, they decimate the elk herds. They took the northern greater Yellowstone herd from 20,000 down to below 2,000. Same thing around Elk City, over 20,000 elk, where, now it's down below 1,500. Wow. Where these populations are unchecked. It's where it really has a negative effect on wildlife and the entire ecosystem. It throws it out of balance. And so, now we're seeing it in Wyoming and Montana, where we can manage our wolf populations, where they're managed by biologists. We're able to keep those populations in check, and a lot of our populations have bounced back. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And then, like you said, like they're not using science in the same way that we are. The science I've heard about Yellowstone is it's great. All the aspen trees are coming back because the elk aren't rubbing on them because the wolves are eating all the elk. Yeah, but you can't see any elk in the park. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But, I've seen articles written about how great it is that the aspen trees are coming back, that there's no elk around. The wolves have killed them all, and it's like they try to spin it in their favor, for sure. But it's just like the more educated we can get and the more involved we can get, like, this is all of our fight. And it's one of those things that I just can't ignore anymore as well. Like the fight's been brought right to my doorstep, and if we don't unite and stick up for a lot of these other states, these battleground states and states with less of a voice, or like you say, that the small population that do hunt with beagles, or it's like a predator hunters, it's easy to attack bear hunters. It's easy to attack bow hunters to break us up. But if we stay united and we make our voice heard, like we really can. We really can get change in a positive direction and bring the science to the forefront. And people that don't hunt, they are interested in hearing our story. Like our story has been brought to the mainstream now. How the most organic, nutrient-rich protein on the planet, and self-sustainability. And a lot of people have helped bring awareness to this. You talked about meat eaters. Steve Rennell is a great spokesperson that really helps educate people on the lifestyle that we live. There's a bunch of good ones out there. Joe Rogan's done a great thing at educating, populations that wouldn't be hunters, but educating them about the lifestyle and about elk meat and about what we do. And so the more we can tell that story, the more we can make our voice heard, and the more that we can play the political game that has to be played, then we can really be able to keep like a lot of these rights and a lot of these passions that we have for the outdoors that are going to continue for years to come, because there are no guarantees. And if we don't start now, it's slowly but surely the lifestyle that we love to live is going to be chipped away at. So, man, I am on board with HOWL. Like, I just think you're doing such great work, Charles. I'm so excited about it. I can't wait to visit the website when we get off this podcast and to read more into it. It's just amazing, man.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's pretty simple. The website, I don't think you can get lost. It's basically all about taking action and where to do that. And it's through clickable pictures. So, hopefully you'll find it fairly easy. And then the rest of it is essentially the rewards, which again, you don't have to sign up for specifically. You just might get an email one day and say, hey, you have 200 points and you just want to sweet $700 backpack or something. So that's essentially how simple it is.
Yeah, man.
That's how we want to keep it.
I can't wait. Well, you guys have some good bear hunting there in California, and thanks to you guys, you're going to protect it for years to come. You looking forward to the bear season?
Yeah, I am. I really am. I'm very much so looking forward to that. We do have, I mean, I'm not worried about bear season for 2022, but that's one of the issues that we are currently working on, and that'll be coming up. We'll have a new action for that very soon, because they'll be making a decision or there'll be a recommendation on the bear management, on California bear management coming from the department by April, which could turn out to be the best thing that's happened for bear in California in a very, very long time. Because they are taking hopefully it sounds like it, they're taking the management or the lack of data in their management plan and revising that, because we believe the bear population numbers have grown in California, which they have. It's insane how many bear you see. So hound hunting was banned in 2013, right? So we haven't met the quota since then, since that year that it was banned. So the most effective method of take was taken away, and hunters have not met that quota since then for a variety of reasons. And now we're expecting possibly a new bear management plan, and I'm excited to see what might come out of that.
Man, it'd be amazing
they said
if you guys could get like a spring season or just get even a longer season or more tags. Like, it makes such a difference. Like those black bears, they wreak havoc on calves and on does or on fawns. Like, it's amazing in the springtime here in Montana. Like, we see these bears really focused in on the elk calving grounds, and the calves themselves, are bedded in the grass, and their instincts are, they're to hold still for a week until they can get their legs underneath them to where they can keep up with mom. And so mom stashes them in the grass somewhere, and they're supposed to hold still. But these black bears, they know it, and they are hunting these calves hard, and they kill a bunch of them. Like the predation on these fawns and on these calves is absolutely amazing. And so it's crucial that we control these black bear populations to keep these ecosystems in balance. Like, I can see it, it's right on my back doorstep here. So that's going to be huge for you guys in California. And you guys do have great bear populations and a bunch of great color phase. A lot of big chocolates, and they're big bears. You guys have really good genetics. Big skulls out there. Like it really is a resource and a renewable resource. So yeah, I'm excited to see if you guys can implement some change in that and hopefully get some more opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. This state is a amazing place to bear hunt, and you're 100% right on predation of calves or fawns, whatnot. There's plenty of studies. There's actually, ironically, a 5-year study here done in California on the black-tailed deer population in Mendocino County, and essentially, it's the nosedive of the black-tailed deer population because of too many bear and too many lion. We don't have any mountain lion management hunting here whatsoever. But what's additionally happening, according to this 5-year study, is that mountain lions are killing, black-tailed deer, and black bear are coming and stealing those kills. Because it's happening at a higher and higher rate. And so then that causes the mountain lion to go kill another deer. So it's having such a terrible effect on the black-tailed deer population. Again, it's all about management. And I'm not saying we need to wipe out all of the predators either, because some people, they kind of want to say that, like, let's get rid of them all or whatever. Well, no, that's not a good idea either.
Yep. But
there needs to be balance. Yep. For sure. And we are a part of this with humans because of our intellect, and we have data, and we have things we can write down and study and all that. These animals do not. We have that. So let's use that and let's utilize that. We are a part of this as well. We're a part of nature just as much as they are. But we just have a different role, or we can have a different role if we decide to utilize it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we're seeing that too with the federal protection of the grizzly bears, where it's getting really dangerous around Montana, Idaho, Wyoming. Like in my home valley here, there's on average probably 5 attacks a year, and that goes for fishermen, hunters, recreators, like you name it. Like there's starting to be more human-bear conflict around. There's just so many grizzly bears, and their numbers aren't controlled that, we're seeing a lot of them and running into trouble. And there was a fisherman that was fishing the Madison last winter that stumbled upon a moose kill where that grizzly bear, he ended up killing him, and he was a young man, like 39, I believe, which is just tragic. And so, like, I don't want to remove him from the landscape. I love hunting black bears, and we get a spring season here. I hunt them with my bow and arrow, and we have to hunt them spot and stock. We don't have any baits or anything in Montana, but so fun to be able to be out in the springtime and see the critters, the elk and the deer and the bear, and see good numbers and really target these larger boars on the landscape. It's just so fun, and I look forward to it each and every year. And so, it's the enjoyment of hunting them. I love seeing them on the landscape and having them. It's just controlling it. It's controlling a manageable population of them that we can keep balance in the ecosystem. And we're all just looking to use science, to use our biologists that are employed by these states to come up with the data. So, we know what to pass, or we know what the next move is. But man, you're just doing amazing work, Charles. Absolutely awesome to get you on the podcast. And next time you have a big initiative or something come up where you need some voices, come back on the podcast and share it with me. I'd be happy to talk it over.
Awesome. Yeah, I really certainly appreciate that. And, Eastmans as a whole, I started the conversation off with speaking with Scott, and he's been Scott Reekers, and he's just been connecting me with everybody he can think of, which is great. I mean, I love that, of course, because, I'm the president and founder of HOWL, but the mission here is we need people, and we need people to get involved. And the more whatever you can do to get more people involved, the more it's actually on this particular issue or mission, whatever, the more it's going to help you if you are a hunter. This is really for the entire hunting community and angling and whatever else that we can get involved with. But Um, yeah, the more people, the better. So I really appreciate that. I really do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And our audience will take action as well. Like hearing you on the podcast and hearing this support of wildlife and support of hunters. Like we're all on board. We want to get involved. We just don't know the right way to go about it. You know, we don't all know how to write our senators or to make the right phone calls at the right times. And sure, when some of these initiatives come up that are on our back doorstep, we're forced to. But to have an organization like yours that's going to inform me on this so I can stick up for hunters in New Mexico or stick up for hunters in California and make sure that we fight this in a lot of these battle states and win so they don't show up in all the western states. I am on board. Like I have felt like we've been attacked from all different angles. So to have an organization that can organize us and make it easy for us to make it simple with we go to your website and a few clicks we've sent this email, we can personalize it. You've just made it really easy for us to unite and have a voice. So man, I thank you, Charles. It's amazing.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so the website is it's howlforwildlife.org. Obviously, basically social media. I do everything on Instagram, and then it gets repeated on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. But I'm not really on Facebook or Twitter. Instagram is howl_org. I think you can just type in Howl for Wildlife as well. I'm sure you'll find us. But yeah, I really appreciate all the support.
Yep. All right. Thanks, sir. We'll talk soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Brian.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. Oh, it's so important to have these organizations like HOWL that gets our voices to the right places, the right committees making these decisions. So just a great podcast with Charles. I thank him for all his work. Again, HOWL for Wildlife. It doesn't cost you anything. You can go just subscribe to their email list so we can keep informed and we can keep united on these battleground states that are trying to take these rights from us. So it's super important to me, and I need to be more involved as well. I don't consider myself, I don't. I love to bow hunt so much that I spend a lot of my time thinking about preparing for and doing that. But I've also realized as I get older that I need to fight to protect this. That there are people that are trying to take this away from us. And so I really need to do a better job at being informed, at being involved, in making my voice heard, in helping to inform you guys. And nothing's changing on the podcast. Like, I want to bring you guys next level information that makes you better Western hunters. But I think this is also an important piece of that. So thanks you guys for listening in. Thanks for supporting HOWL. Great organization. Follow them on social media as well. And thanks to Charles for all his work on this deal and putting this program together. It's amazing. So, yeah, with that, thanks to Eastmans for their support of the podcast. Make sure to check us out at Tag Hub, Eastman's Elite Membership, Beyond the Grid. The magazines are Eastman's Bow Hunting Journal, Eastman's Hunting Journal. If you punch in the promo code Elevated 321, that'll save you, or that'll get you $50 and a free outdoor edged knife for both magazines for a year. It's a great magazine. Staff writers pour a heart and soul. We also have subscriber stories in there. It's a good gauge to look at Western trophies too, and where these trophies are coming out of, which states and things of that nature. They also have the MRS section in the back, which is great for research for these out-of-state hunts. So make sure to check that out. Also, thanks again to Black Rifle Coffee Company. Again, the promo code at the end of that, punch in, I think you have to /Eastmans, and then you can punch in the promo code Brian to save you some off that. Their instant is great for the mountains and as light as you can get for coffee. I love that stuff. So make sure to check them out. Make sure to check out Cutter Stabilizers, building these great carbon fiber bars that hold up to all the abuse us bow hunters can put on them. Also, they now have a side mount bracket. It's built with the same durability, the same quality as the bars. They also have weights available, and this is a small business. Earl is one of us. He's a small-town guy who's really put the research and development into these bars and stabilizers and really built a quality product, and so I couldn't be happier supporting him or supporting his company over there at Cutter. So, with that, thanks you guys for listening in. Thanks for the shares on social media, the ratings and reviews. Those always help on the podcast hosting sites. And man, with that, just keep getting you guys out some good recordings. So thanks, you guys. We'll talk to you next week.